Because argument continues today over theories of evolution versus the belief in creationism, one might be forgiven for thinking this is a completely modern debate. However, Charles Darwin published The Origin of Species in 1859. This may have set the stage for the destruction of the remains of giant humans in the early 1900s by the Smithsonian Institution, in order to protect the reputation of the theory of evolution. David Brody, author of The Oath of Nimrod, recalls from history of the mid-1800s, the American public imagination was captured by reports in the media of the bones of giants being found. These oversized humans were believed to have roamed the Americas in the pre-Columbian era, which includes all history before the arrival on the continent by Christopher Columbus. That is not to say that giants did not coexist with early Native Americans. Oral history of the first peoples speaks of a race of giants with whom on occasion they would do battle. Eventually, some tribes of Native Americans would merge to combat the gargantuan foe. However, the enclaves of the giants tended to cover a lot of land. One such enclave dominated the Ohio River Valley, and evidence of their occupation proved plentiful. Even Abraham Lincoln was caught up in the hype. In 1848, Lincoln said, "The eyes of extinct giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, have gazed on Niagara Falls, just as our eyes do now." It was common to see in the newspapers reports on excavations of giant bones and oversized human skeletons of lengths between 7 and 12 feet. Many of these digs were the accidental discovery of common farmers who, in the process of turning the soil of their fields, were confronted with remains of some human leviathan. The farmer would then send for the country doctor and the town marshal. Like others in his rural community, the farmer was most likely to be a man of religious conviction, a reader of the Bible, a believer that there were giants in the earth. As the pioneers of the 19th century tamed the continent, the urgency of farming supplanted all respect for Native American burial mounds. The sites where giant humanoids were discovered numbered in the hundreds. The country doctor may have measured the dimensions of the body. The local newspaper may have sent out a photographer to capture an image of the interred as it rested in the ground. After the skeleton was exhumed, it may have been exhibited in the town hall. This was before it became the vogue in archaeology to apply a preservative for the protection of excavated bones. On exposure to air, on account of the acidic content of the skeleton itself, a mighty specimen might crumble to dust within a decade. The Smithsonian Institution was reluctant to put these finds on display. The Institute was indifferent to, and sometimes willfully neglectful of, the idea of an ancient race, predating the occupation of North America by the first peoples. The idea was contrary to the narrative that the Smithsonian sought to preserve in its own version of history. They also preferred to promote the manifest destiny of European settlers, to occupy an entire country, displacing its Native Americans. At the same time, the Smithsonian was accepting donations of ancient bones from all over the country, examining and documenting these treasures using their experts in a field known as ethnology. How did so many specimens go missing? They can no longer be found in the Smithsonian collections. The records of analysis are gone, as are the logbooks, in which was recorded the dates when they received the remains of these giants, and the names and addresses of the donors who had shipped the precious cargo cross-country. A United States Supreme Court ruling in 2014 forced the Smithsonian Institution to release classified papers from the early 1900s, proving it was involved in a major cover-up of evidence, in which hundreds of specimens of giant humans were ordered by high-level administrators to be destroyed to protect the scientific consensus of the age, which just happened to favor the shiny new theory of Charles Darwin on human evolution.